There is a man who won the American Revolution, and almost nobody remembers his name. Not George Washington, not Benjamin Franklin, not the Marquis de Lafayette, or Alexander Hamilton, or Paul Revere, a man who led armies while walking with a bad leg, who never went to a formal military school, who taught himself everything from books he borrowed and read by candlelight in a small Quaker iron forge in Rhode Island. A man who lost almost every battle he fought, and by doing that, destroyed the British Army's southern campaign, freed 3 whole states, and made the final surrender at Yorktown not just possible, but certain. His name was Nathaniel Greene. And this is the story of how a limping blacksmith's son from Potawatomi became one of the smartest military minds of the entire Revolutionary War, and how history, in its careless way, almost forgot him. Stay with us, because what Nathaniel Greene did between 1780 and 1781 in the swamps and pine forests of the American South is not just a war story. It is a story about a different kind of courage. The courage to lose again and again and still keep moving forward. It is a story about patience, about intelligence, about seeing war not as many small battles, but as one big problem to solve. It is a story about a man who understood something very important. In a revolution, survival itself is victory. An army that refuses to give up cannot be defeated. And sometimes, the greatest general is not the one who wins the most battles, but the one who knows exactly when to step back and save his army. Welcome to History USA. Let's start from the beginning. Nathaniel Greene was born on August 7, 1742, in the village of Potawatomi, in what is now East Greenwich, Rhode Island. He was the 4th child of Nathaniel Greene Sr. and Mary Mott. He grew up in a home shaped by hard work and strong faith. His father was both a Quaker minister and an iron factory owner. Because of this, young Nathaniel learned 2 very different ways of life. One was physical labor in the forge, working with metal. The other was a strict religious life based on simplicity and peace. The Quakers believed in living simply and peacefully. They did not believe in war or violence. They raised their children to live quiet and honest lives. For a while, it seemed Nathaniel would live the same way. He would take over the family business, marry, and stay in Rhode Island forever. But Nathaniel Greene was different. He loved learning. From a very young age, he read everything he could find. He taught himself math. He taught himself Latin. He read history books, life stories of great people, and deep philosophical writings. He worked hard in the forge, but his mind was always searching for more knowledge. He was especially interested in military history. He read about famous generals, ancient battles, and the strategies used in wars. While others only learned what they needed, Greene wanted to understand everything. He also had a physical challenge. As a child, he hurt his knee, and it never healed properly. He walked with a limp for the rest of his life. At that time, people judged leaders by how strong and perfect they looked. Greene's limp made him stand out, and people often noticed it. He felt that difference deeply. But instead of giving up, he used it as motivation. Since he could not compete physically, he became stronger mentally. He built a powerful mind that would later help him defeat stronger armies. In 1770, when he was 28, Greene went to watch a militia training. He did not go to fight, only to observe and learn how soldiers worked in real life. This upset his Quaker community because even watching military activity went against their beliefs. He was officially warned, but he did not stop. In 1772, he bought a book called Euclid's Elements and taught himself geometry step by step. He trained his mind to think in a clear and logical way. This skill later helped him make smart decisions during war. In 1773, he married Catherine Littlefield, known as Katie. She was kind, intelligent, and very social. She balanced Greene's serious nature. Their marriage was strong and full of love. Katie supported him during the war and stayed close to him even in difficult times. By 1774, the conflict between America and Britain was growing. Greene became active and helped form a local militia called the Kentish Guards. Surprisingly, he was chosen as a simple soldier instead of an officer, most likely because of his limp. He accepted this without complaint and used the chance to learn everything about military life from the ground level. He continued studying and learning. He connected with Henry Knox, a bookseller who shared his interest in military knowledge. Knox helped him get rare books about war and strategy. Greene was not just memorizing facts, he was thinking deeply about how wars are fought and won. He asked important questions about soldiers, leadership, and survival. When the war started in 1775, Greene was ready. He was quickly promoted and became a general. He joined George Washington and earned his trust. Washington saw that Greene was honest, smart, and reliable. Over time, Greene became one of his most trusted officers. During hard times like the retreat from New York and the winter at Valley Forge, Greene played a key role. As quartermaster, general, he organized supplies and helped keep the army alive. By 1780, Greene had gained deep experience. When the southern colonies were in trouble, Washington chose him to take command. Greene found a weak and tired army. Instead of following normal rules, he made a bold move and divided his forces. This confused the British and forced them into difficult decisions. This strategy led to the important victory at Copens and the famous retreat called the Race to the Dan. Greene kept his army safe while tiring out the enemy. Later, at Guilford Courthouse, he fought and lost the battle but caused heavy damage to the British army. This forced them to retreat. Greene continued his campaign, slowly pushing the British out of the South. Even when he lost battles, he was winning the war step by step. His actions forced the British commander Cornwallis to move to Virginia, where he was later trapped and defeated at Yorktown. Greene made that victory possible. After the war, Greene was honored, but over time, people forgot about him. He died at just 43 years old from sunstroke. He never got the chance to fully tell his story. His success was hard to explain because he did not win many battles, but he still won the war. His story teaches us something important. Real success is not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it is quiet, patient, and smart. Nathaniel Greene showed a different kind of courage, the courage to keep going, to think clearly, and to never give up. Even when Greene was losing battles, he was carefully watching the enemy and learning from every move they made. He understood that every loss could still give him useful information. He studied how the British moved, how they used their supplies, and how they reacted under pressure. This helped him plan his next steps better than before. He also built strong relationships with local fighters and militia groups. These men knew the land very well. They used quick attacks, surprise moves, and hidden paths to weaken the British. Greene worked with them instead of ignoring them, and this made his overall strategy much stronger. Greene never rushed into fights just to look brave. He chose when to fight and when to step back. This confused the British because they could not predict his next move. Sometimes they chased him for miles, thinking they were winning, but in reality, they were getting weaker and more tired. The British Army slowly started to run out of food, energy, and support. Their soldiers became exhausted, and their leaders began to make mistakes. Greene's plan was working, even though it did not look like victory at first. As time passed, more local people began to support the American side. They saw that the British were not as strong as they once seemed. Greene's patience helped change the mood of the people, and this gave his army more strength and confidence. Greene's leadership style was different from many others. He trusted his officers, listened to advice, and stayed calm even in difficult moments. His clear thinking helped his army stay together when things looked bad. In the end, Nathaniel Greene proved that winning is not always about fighting harder. Sometimes it is about thinking smarter, staying patient, and never giving up, no matter how many times you fall.